Hey, chiropractors, welcome to Modern Chiropractic Mastery with your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, where we discuss the latest in marketing, business, and professional growth with some of the leading experts in the industry. Hey, docs, welcome to another episode of Modern Chiropractic Mastery. This is your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, and today I'm excited to bring on Dr. Gage Winkels, who is an associate chiropractor at our practice, and we're going to dive into Instagram Reels and some of the things that he's been doing since he's taken that over for our practice, and some of the things we're doing also for MCM clients as well. And we're going to dive into things from branding to the mechanics of Instagram Reels, some strategy around it, certain tactics we've learned. Instagram has changed quite a bit, and it really is putting a lot of emphasis on Reels because they're trying to keep up with TikTok. And so Reels is a really good way of marketing. And we're going to dive into the formats of that. It's video based and difference between even Reels and posts and stories. But we're going to give you a nice fresh update on what's going on with Instagram Reels. And he's done a great job since he's been in our practice to grow our following on Instagram and to get a lot of, frankly, awareness and conversion into our practice. And so we're going to dive into that today, and we'll keep you updated as we go along. I think Instagram, just like marketing, just like anything social media, is always changing, and we are consistently trying to stay on top of that for you and give you the updates when we do. And so we have a great little IG reel update show for you here today. So without further ado, here is my interview with Dr. Gage Winkels. All right, welcome to the show, Gage. It's a pleasure to have you on. I get to see you enough every day, but now we get to actually interview each other, so that's always fun, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we dive into Instagram Reels, which you've done a great job of kind of revamping our practice for it, tell us a little about yourself personally and professionally, and then we'll dive into it.
I'm Dr. Gage Winkels. I'm a chiropractic physician here at HealthFit Chiropractic in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm also known as Kevin's associate here for the listeners. I stem from a small town in northern Minnesota, Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Went to undergrad in southern Minnesota there, and then did my chiropractic schooling at Northwestern Health Sciences University, just south of Minneapolis there in Bloomington, before coming down and joining the practice here in Boca.
Yeah, it's been great. And then obviously on the clinical side and doing all that type of stuff that we've onboarded. You started with us in May. We're recording this in October. We'll probably come out a month or so after that. But the clinical onboarding has been good. But then the thing that you've really taken head on is marketing in general. And I think that's something that I want to spotlight first for the young DCs that are coming out, whether you're going to be an associate, you're going to start your own practice, is having an intrinsic motivation and kind of an ownership mentality to get out there and realize that you're more than likely not going to be in a scenario again, whether you're working for someone or in a partnership or opening up your own practice where you can just hang a shingle. You gotta get out there. You got to get out there physically. You got to get out there digitally, and you've been doing a great job of that. We're gonna focus today on Instagram, but just for our audience, you've definitely done more. You've done a lot of the community outreach. You've done a lot of video in general and things like that. At what point of whether it was in school or it was in the interview process, or you had a really good preceptorship program that you were in, or when you started working, did you realize like, yeah, I'm going to have to get out there? When did that occur to you?
Yeah, I would say, when you're in school, you always kind of know like, oh, I want to run a clinic someday, or be a small business owner there. And then really, I felt like when I started my preceptorship in that last year of school, I was lucky enough to join a practice just southwest of Minneapolis there in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and there's two docs who were kind of starting from the ground up there. They were fairly new into taking over a practice. They had both been associates themselves. And so we were able to discuss a lot on that and just how it's important to get out in the community there. And I think that was kind of the first time I realized like, patients don't necessarily just show up at your office and sign up for care. And so there's a few different ways to go at it. As we've discussed, it's good to have a blend, right? You want to be able to do a lot online with today's day and age, and how relevant social media has become, but also, there's still a lot of value in becoming the guy or the person in your community there, getting out, meeting people, showing face, things like that. So it's been a little bit of a two-headed approach there, and I think we've done a great job of it here. But really, for like the young DC out there, it'll start to click, I think, as you, whether it's in your preceptorship or when you get out into the real world there, that your schedule just it doesn't fill that first day in practice there, right? You got to put in some time, whether that be online or in person.
Yeah, and I think the key, and I mentioned this before, is if you're gonna work for someone, and then you have a goal of someday opening up your own practice, you don't want that someday to be the first time you're trying to build a practice or a patient base and getting out there. You'd like to get your sea legs underneath you, maybe under someone else's dime. Let them make that investment in it, and so look at it as, because I think the mistake I've seen a lot of young docs, and I would even admit that maybe early on I had a little bit of that thought process, was that it's like, oh, it's like, I don't know, put all this effort in to build his or her practice type of thing. And it's not the way you want to look at it. It's, you're building up your chops, you're building up your patient list. And then even if you were to move an hour away to open up your own practice, that was a very good experience, just like your clinical would be a very good experience. And so I commend you for taking that head on, and kind of segue a little bit. One of the tricky parts about naming your company Modern Chiropractic Marketing is that everybody expects you to stay modern with all of the social media. And when you're as old as I am, not that I'm that old, but in my 40s, and we had a funny story about that where I took you to a community outreach event, and we had a young lady come up and chat with us. She was a marketing person, probably, what was she, 25, 26, your age. Um,
Yeah, yeah, somewhere in there.
and then she asked if I was your dad. So that was a hit to the ego. But when you get to, my age, it's hard to keep up with all the modern marketing things myself. Like, I'm not on TikTok. And then frankly, our Instagram for the practice was not up to snuff because things change rather quickly. And one of those big changes for Instagram has been trying to be like TikTok. And so they're really emphasizing the reels, and they're emphasizing short form video, and that's where we had a blind spot, and you've come in and really took that on and learned a lot with that. What was some of the early learning processes for Instagram Reels that you had to kind of undertake, and what were you doing to learn that?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the things early on is just, first of all, I mean, you got to understand what an Instagram reel is, right? So it's essentially for those who aren't currently making any Instagram reels, it's a short video, can be up to like 90 seconds in length. And with the immersion of TikTok over the last few years, it's something that attention spans, whether it be from TikTok or just content in general, the shorter the better there. And so for us, it was something that I noticed that we were doing a great job posting frequently, but however, we weren't necessarily posting a lot of these short term videos. We had the educational content through MCM and things like that, our slide decks, but I felt like we were lacking in that kind of shortened content version,
Mhm.
and so that's where we decided we were going to come up with a plan for that. And we've had some great interns over the last 6 months or so here that have helped with that. And it's been kind of a fun little project there. But there's definitely a learning curve with it, right? And we'll dive into kind of how you can develop a social media plan through Instagram Reels here, and some of the metrics you'll want to track throughout the process there. But it is something that there's just a learning curve. It's like learning anything, right? There's trials and tribulations, and um, for us, it was to definitely keep those videos a little shorter. Some of the first ones we did were pushing that 90-second mark, and then you see the average watch time on them is averaging 10 to 15 seconds, right? And so it's okay. How do we still educate the public? How do we reach out to the community? Show that we're experts in conditions X, Y, and Z, um, versus a long term video, and how can we do that kind of more concisely and effectively there.
And one thing I've liked that you've done, because you've been able to blend in because obviously the essence of what I try to coach or we talk about at MCM is content marketing and educational content and being useful. And you've done a good job of short format videos, but still providing a value and useful. Because I do keep up with a lot of other chiropractors stuff, and I do think it's really good to sprinkle in some fun stuff and things that aren't educational. But I've seen too many where it's all gimmicky stuff. It's not providing a health education to the practice, and you've done a pretty good job of doing that. What has been your thought process of trying to say, okay, I got 20 seconds to make this useful? How are you doing that?
Yeah. So like you said, it's a lot of clinics, are they either just follow trends, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I think there's benefit in that as well. Or it's the one thing I see the most of, and it's the Instagram page out there that has a happy 4th of July post and then nothing for, until Labor Day. And then office closed on Labor Day post and things like that. And it's you got to get content out there, and you got to work that content to attract those
Mhm.
patients or those people in the community there. And so for us being, a sports chiropractic clinic primarily, and that's something that we focus on is we want to take those videos and say, okay, we have, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. What type of condition do we want to approach this with? Okay, tennis elbow. Okay, how are we, treating that best clinically in practice here? We're doing some ART. We're checking some joint motion throughout the kinetic chain there, and then we're doing some rehab and shockwave therapy. Perfect. Let's get a little clip of each one of those, build our little collage video, and post it out there, and then we can also reuse those clips in the future, which has been something that helps improve efficiency with it. So that's one way we've kind of approached it here and brainstormed, yourself, myself and our interns here have done a great job at kind of coming together at some of those conditions and how we can make a little collage video to attack that.
Let's take a break from today's episode and announce our first sponsor. This is going to be Propel Marketing and Design. I've known Darcy Sullivan for years. We've worked hand in hand on my websites. I don't trust anybody else to do the search engine optimization. She does a great job. There's so much to it. A lot of the lingo and the words are beyond my comprehension, but it's just amazing work that she does. And if you're really going to get results with Google, you have to make sure your website is SEO optimized. And I really don't want you doing it yourself as a chiropractor. So you just have to have this type of stuff done. And if you're looking to get more organic online traffic that pulls in new patients, Propel Marketing and Design is currently offering chiropractors who listen to this podcast a free SEO website review. The free review will help you uncover methods that will improve your website and boost your search engine visibility. Head over to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor and schedule your free SEO website review. You won't regret it. She gets great results. Your website needs this. Your search results need this. Head on over there to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor to get your free SEO website review. And just go over a little bit of the mechanics of it just for our audience that might be my age. There's when you Instagram, there could be a post. It's gonna be your traditional post that you might see. It might be an image. You're gonna see there's also stories, and then there's reels. And like when you go to actually post, you on the usually in the bottom right, you'll see post, story, reel. You're gonna click on that reel. It's gonna be video based essentially. And again, it's short format. And then within that, so once I'm going to take you into it. We've clicked on that reel. We've selected the video that we're going to put on there from your phone. You got to do this or probably a pad, but typically from your phone. What are some of the strategies within now that they've done that? What are they looking at as far as let them know that they can edit the front and back of it and, kind of the mechanics of it as they're posting that?
Yeah. So like you said, there on Instagram, you have your standard posts. You can do kind of slide decks. You can do your stories. And then, we want to focus on the Instagram reels there. And so within an Instagram reel, you can select multiple clips if you want, and then it will automatically play those in the order of selection there. It will then take you to kind of the editing platform on Instagram there, and some real like basic things that I think you can do there is you can obviously trim your videos. So if you want, if it's a 15-second video, but you just want to do 2 repetitions of an exercise, you trim that down to 5 seconds.
Mm.
And then you can kind of play the collage of videos like that. Another one is transitions between videos. So there's a transition button where between each clip, the screen can kind of fizzle away or it can swipe away in a direction. That's some stuff that just makes it look more presentable, right? And it also helps keep attention in there versus just these short, choppy clips that get played over and over again. And so the third thing I would say after that would be captions. So I love using, captions and text. It kind of helps bring attention again to the screen because you got to get that hook in, right? You got to hook that person who sees it on their explore page on why they should continue watching. And then the fourth component I'd say is music. So
Yeah.
on Instagram, there's a plethora of sounds and things like that on their songs. And so what you can do is on those, there'll actually be a upward arrow on sounds or songs that are currently trending. And so I always typically try and pick one of those sounds or songs there because that means that that song or sound is getting a lot of plays on the app. So that's kind of a little insider tip there when you're looking at that.
Yeah, it's funny, one of your early patients was an influencer model, and she gave you that secret and some other ones, right?
Yeah, she's helped us quite a bit there. She keeps us up on the latest trends and stuff. So being in South Florida here, you get some of that patient population, and it's hey, I mean, I'll take all the tips I can, right?
Yeah.
It's free advice, and people like that who do it for a career, they know a lot about it. So I'll take it any day of the week, that's for sure.
And it's safe to say you're not yet making the same amount of money off of, holding like a Celsius drink or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah. With our health fit page, we haven't got any brand ambassadors from Athletic Greens or Celsius or some of these companies that are maybe our patients have. But maybe someday. It's not out of the
Yeah.
cards. So
Yeah.
we'll just keep plugging away there.
Maybe it'll be a good hair product you can get. Just keep at it.
Yeah,
You never know.
yeah. I'll take anything here, right? It's all the cards are in the deck there.
So, it sounds like within the platform, you can just do so much. I think that's something I want to make sure that people understand is it's not that you have to use some other software. I mean, I'm sure there are others that you could do more elaborate things, but within the actual platform of Instagram, you can do all the editing. Even like certain things, like if you're, you might be the only doc in there and you shoot a video and it's like you got to clip out the fact that you were setting up to go hit the button and then you went to go shut the phone off. You want to get that out of there. You can clip that, but in the platform of Instagram, you can really produce this video essentially, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so like we do, I mean, 99% of our editing, we just started to dabble with some other platforms there, but really all of our editing is within Instagram there. And a lot of it is that rather basic editing, right? Like it's not complex, it's going to take a long time to learn and steps to do. Like the app itself is fairly easy to use and it can just be simple things like adding a trending song and clipping the video so it doesn't start with you starting the camera and then walking in front to get set up for the video, right? So it really is efficient and it doesn't take a long time. And I think one of the things that is beneficial too is as you create these clips, you just keep them in sort of a bank, right? You keep a cache of that, and so then down the road you can pull that old clip you had for your favorite exercise for patellar tendonitis, and you can combine that with a new clip of doing some Graston on the patellar tendon, and there's a new video right there without having to reshoot all these videos as well.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like you go back to your tennis elbow scenario. You could shoot a quick little video of you assessing it, maybe a little bit of video of you doing something like ART or Graston, a little video of a rehab exercise, a little video of shockwave, and then you've got different clips of that. And then in the Instagram platform, you can combine it into one reel, right?
100%. And I think that's a big challenge for a lot of DCs out there with Instagram is it's like that time commitment, right?
Mhm.
Is you're
Yeah.
maybe you're a lone wolf doc, or you're busy, you're treating patients all day, you're doing, backstage things like that in the practice. And sometimes it might seem daunting to have to go create social media content, but you can keep those clips and reuse them and re-collaborate them with new video and thing like that. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's take a short break for one of our great sponsors, TrackStat. It is a new type of software plugin for your EHR that combines patient communication, marketing, automation, and statistics with patient and employee tracking. Built by chiropractors for chiropractors, it shows your team what to focus on each day. See patient visit habits, missing information, unpaid bills, insurance collection visit average, and more. Great visibility of data so you can focus on filling your office with your best patients. When you can see what your staff and patients are doing or not doing and take action accordingly, your profits naturally grow. Take TrackStat for a test drive in your office with our free trial. Not a techie, no problem, we can help. To get started on your free trial, visit trackstat.org and watch the demo. That is trackstat.org. We've kind of talked about strategies, like, what we just talked about with the tennis elbow would be kind of a strategy, content in a short form, but educational content is a strategy. Then we mentioned some tactics like trending music as a tactic and certain things like that. I know you put some overlay graphics sometimes on there. That would be kind of a tactic or production. That's cool as well. Now, on the metrics side, what are some of the things that you've been looking at and trying to improve on the metric side? If you can just kind of run through some of those.
yeah, so what we did is after about a month or so that we started to really implement consistent Instagram reels on our page, I thought we need a way to audit this, right? Just like clinically, you need a way to audit something that's going on with a patient. And so why not audit, metrics surrounding Instagram? With Instagram, it's extremely beneficial. There's a section on Instagram if you are a business account. There's two sections. One is the professional dashboard, and that's a fairly newish feature. And what that does is that can show you um, best practices. It's called, and so that's
Mm.
some of your best videos and how to remake those. As well as it has an inspiration tab, so it can show you other reels that might give you ideas and things like that. But the biggest thing with the Instagram account is the insights page. So on Instagram, in your account, you can go to insights. Again, this is as a business account. And you can go to the insights, and within insights, you can see, I mean, dozens of metrics on there, everything from just how many views you get on a post to they have the average ages broken up onto the people who are viewing your content. They have the sex of the people viewing your content, the location, right? And that can be by country, city. I mean, there's so much insight there. I think a few of the biggest ones that we like to see is obviously views, and that's great because that's just general exposure. And then one that I think is really cool to track that we have is you can look at your views or your interactions with your Instagram account as a follower versus non-follower breakdown. Now, so as you post an Instagram reel, you'd love to see that non-follower breakdown increase, meaning that you're getting into the algorithm, you're getting on people's explore pages, you're reaching people who aren't already following you. And so you're getting that community outreach there. And so that's a huge one that we like to track there. Um, I think one other one that we like to track here and it's kind of fun to play around with is it'll show you your busiest times for your followers on Instagram, and that's by day of the week and time of the day. So we can see that hey, on Monday at noon to 3 p.m. That's the best time for us to post on a Monday, and throughout the week it's Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at times A, B, and C.
Let's take a short break from today's episode to tell you about the best decision I've made in my clinic in the last 10 years, and that has been adding shockwave therapy to our clinic. The outcomes have been really impressive. Certain conditions we were struggling with in the past, we're now seeing results with the shockwave therapy for that. And second of all, the ROI has been really good. When you make a big investment in something, you want to see a return, and we're seeing that return in clinical outcomes and in our investment. And that's been really nice to see. I chose Keenest Medical for 4 reasons. One is the technology is top notch. You have to have great technology. There's a lot out there that isn't quite up to snuff. The second thing is they have a really good clinical training. They have an exclusive partnership with Academy of Shockwave Excellence so that you can become clinically proficient in shockwave. You do need to get skilled at it. I think that's a big differentiator between practices that are getting great results and seeing the ROI is they have a great clinical aspect to that as well. So you want to get trained appropriately. Third is they have in-house service team for all of your technical support, which is key when you're investing in a machine like this. And then lastly, they have a very in-depth marketing and business support for you so that you can launch this into your practice effectively, that you can get that ROI on it, that you can get the clinical outcomes. And they also have really good financing options if you need that. So go to kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, mention MCM podcast and receive a free shockwave in practice book with a purchase of a unit. So that's kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, and mention MCM podcast. And then one of the things I also recommend is what we try to do is get patients to follow your Instagram because you do want to obviously have some of your followers watch it. And then if it's your patient, even better, which is great. Because one of the things we saw a benefit of is when we did get shockwave therapy, and for you listening, you might get something else. But if you have a new service or a new doctor, we did a lot of reels on shockwave and a good amount of our patients that were following our IG, it kind of helped uh, prime them for that. And we had people that came in that were already kind of coming in on a regular basis, then ask about Shockwave, and they converted to that. Or we had patients come in because of that, and so you can really educate your patient population if they're following your Instagram, which has been nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was an awesome kind of turning point for us there, and even myself personally, like, joining the practice and starting up those Instagram reels fairly early on. It was kind of cool to see, patients coming through the front door here and meeting them, and they said, "Oh, hey, I recognize you from that post or from that Instagram video." And it helps bring familiar faces into the office, right? And even with our interns, it's been nice to do that and helps us establish that care team here.
Yep. It does, and I wanted to bring that up, and I'm glad you did. What I noticed it did was a few things by you doing a lot of the reels for our practice. It helped them get that know, like, and trust quicker for you. It helped position you as an expert a little bit better. Like, oh, like he really knows his shit. You know, it's good. And it also just gave them awareness that we had a new doctor here and that that they may be seeing you. So that was really good. And so I had a lot of patients that I was still treating say, "Oh, I saw you got a new doctor. That's great." And I think it did a great job of onboarding you into the flow of things with our patients. And now that I've kind of cut down to part time care, a lot of them have been fine seeing you and staying on your schedule, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah, and, like, the non-follower versus follower breakdown is always great, but, at the end of the day, we're all not all of us are gonna go viral, right? And that's not necessarily the goal, nor should it be the goal there. We're not trying to hit the lottery here, but we wanna establish that connection in the community, and, a lot of that's with pre-existing followers, and like you said, I think it's a great way. We utilized it a lot with myself, but also with Shockwaves therapy, and so new modalities or new aspects people are bringing into their clinics. I think it's a great way to get exposure to that. And it was really cool to see, the benefits of that start to pick up where I still remember like, we had a patient who came in, shoulder complaint, and she suggested she wanted to try the shockwave before we even had mentioned it, and
Yep.
implementing it into her care plan because she saw a video that we had posted. So that's something that can be really beneficial for the practice as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one that something we used to do because we had to do it this way. We called it the IG takeover, and it was like if you went to another facility, and then you would actually give them your login credentials, and they would shoot video or whatever using your Instagram, and it was cool, but a little riskier. We'd have to change the password afterwards. Then I worked we worked this obviously this tennis academy. They have a tournament every weekend, and I worked the one Saturday, there's an influencer there, and, they're gonna like, the guy that wants to like, "Oh, take a picture, blah, 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 and do the whole thing," and then she's, like, showing me all this stuff that I had no idea about, and it was a collaboration, so it was, like, our Health Fit account collaborating with her account, which had a lot more followers. So now you don't have to necessarily do the IG takeover strategy. You can do this collaboration thing, and you can also do it with Reels. Can you explain that a little bit for our audience and the benefits of that?
Yeah. So the collaboration piece of Instagram is awesome. So it's when you're out there, boots on the ground, in person, right? You're working a community event. You're interviewing someone in the community. You're doing marketing events, things, community outreach like that. It's a great way to expand that following. And so what it is by you doing a post on Instagram or a reel, you can then add another account on Instagram as a collaborator. And so then that post will appear on all the pages that follow, the other site or the other page there, as well as your clinic page. So a lot of the docs out there who are doing, things like with gyms in the community or like we do tennis academy, right? Run clubs, things like that. That's a great way to get more exposure to that area. And I think with that too, you build, like you said, you build some credibility of, hey, this gym or these trainers or, this provider in the community also works with Health Fit over there. If they trust those guys, I'm going to trust those guys. And so it's a great way to do that. And it's really easy. You can just add collaboration, type in the account and go from there.
Yeah, I really like that, and it's cool. It's like an old school meets new school. You know, you're out doing the old school in person networking or community outreach, but then you utilize a new school technology and you exponentially get that out there. And so, like you said, if that gym has 5,000 followers and you do a collaboration reel with them, not only is that getting in front of your following, but also theirs. So you increase your audience size of like-minded people, and then yeah, it's a social proof type of thing. Like, oh, okay, this must be a place to go to if they recommend them. So I love that strategy. I think it's something that chiropractors need to double down on for sure.
Yeah, and it's something, you sit down in the office and you say, hey, what community outreach events do we have coming up in the next month or two? And then would they, could we ask them, hey, if we put this on Instagram here, can we add you as a collaborator? And then it'll just appear on your feed and you can also share it to your story or whatever. Because you got to think too, then they're getting the collaboration on their end from your clinic's following as well. So it really is a win-win situation there. And we haven't had any issues with anyone denying that or anything. And it's something we hope to continue to going forward with other community events around us here.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And then the last one little topic I have, and then I'll see if I didn't ask anything that our audience needs to know. But we've been messing around trying to, uh, we're doing it for our practice a little bit, but also trying to be able to offer this to our coaching clients that we do their marketing for them. And that is, and I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but Opus Clip, where you could, if if you're a practice and you got a bunch of YouTube videos and they're longer format, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, you can run it through this Opus Clip and it'll spit out reels for videos. So, explain to our audience what that is and some of the details of it and how you're leveraging that.
Yeah, I mean, Opus Clip has been something we've kind of come on to over the last few months here, and it's something that I think has some great opportunities for clinics in general, and especially for clients of MCM in the future here, where essentially you can put in a video of really any length. And so we've uploaded a few of your speeches that you've given that are an hour duration. And you can upload it into it's a website platform there. It's AI generated, and it will essentially process that video. You can select, you want clips spit out from that at 0 to 30 seconds, 0 to 60, all the way up to 3 minute long clips. And it will go through, analyze that video. It will put in those captions that are coming up. It will add B-roll clips, which are like little side clips that'll come in and interrupt the video in the middle of it. It will do all of that for you. And then it provides a written description of what's being said during those clips or of the clip itself. And then what's kind of cool is it's in a beta mode right now for the website, but it'll essentially grade things like how capable this is of joining a trend, how well the hook is on this video, how well the phrasing is of this video, things like that. You get graded on 6 or 7 metrics there, and it ranks those. So it will spit out these clips, and your top clip will be, it has an A hook, and it has an A minus for ability to catch a trend and things like that. And all of that is processed by AI. You just plug in the video. It's a subscription based website there, but yeah, it's awesome. I've enjoyed really working with it, and we're diving into it, head first here, and really seeing what the capabilities of that could be in the future here for clinics in general, and especially MCM clients here.
Yeah, what do you think is the ideal, like taking into consideration that these are chiropractors, these aren't marketing specialists and plenty of time on their hands outside of patient care. What would be a good frequency of posting reels on Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you could post, as a standard clinic there, and you're not, Mister Social or Mrs. Social Media influencer there. Honestly, I think one reel a week would be a good thing there. So it'd be 4 a month, right? I think that would be a good frequency there, because on top of that, you can always post your standard posts. You can post stories. You can, post other video, right? This is just one more component, and it's just tailored to the type of content that society is enjoying the most right now, is that short form video content. So I really think a frequency of once a week or 4 posts a month would be kind of a great starting point for a lot of clinics and be really beneficial. And that's, I mean, we didn't start here posting, 7 reels a day every day from week one. So you got to start somewhere, and I think that would be a really good frequency, about 4 a month there. So one a week.
Love it. And then, is there anything I didn't ask or we didn't discuss that could really help the chiropractor get started with Instagram, or even just improve? Maybe they already are doing it, but some strategies improve or anything.
Well, I mean, I think I'll just briefly go over here. One thing that we kind of did early on there is we broke up, how we're going to attack social media into 3 components. Those 3 components would be brand, audience, and plan. Now, under brand, it's, who are you as the provider? What's the clinic like? What's the vibe, values, mission statements, things like that. Under the audience, like on Instagram and those insights, you can see, where people are from, where they're viewing your content. Obviously, a lot of that's going to be local there. So you can kind of know, like, hey, the content, social media stuff I would post in the hometown I grew up in is going to be different than what I'm going to post down here in South Florida, right? I'm not going to talk about golfer's elbow in January in northern Minnesota as much as I would in South Florida here in January. And then that third component of it would be developing a plan. And that's just, what type of post do we want, and a frequency, and then let's find a way to kind of track some of these metrics. So I think, brand, audience, and plan, and just going over that with either yourself or as a clinic would be a great way to kind of come up with something to get started with Instagram. It can be daunting, and social media in general can be a bit overwhelming. And so, why not develop a good solid plan and just follow that, and track some metrics and see what you can get over, we're doing 90-day time periods with ours. So give it 3 months and kind of see where you're at there.
Yeah, and the other cool feature on there is you can schedule it out. So you can, if you've got an hour a week to sit down and do it, you can schedule that out for the month or however much you want.
Right, right. And as that clip cache, builds and things like that, I mean, now it takes us, not even 10 minutes to pick a few clips, throw a video together, schedule it out for 2 weeks from now on Tuesday afternoon, because that day works best for us. And that's the time our followers are most active, and you set it and forget it.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been great, and I know there's a lot to it, and we could probably do a part two and three and a four. But yeah, we're continuing to learn from it as well, and monitoring our metrics. What's your next goal with Instagram, of like one of the metrics or something that you want to achieve? I know you and one of our interns, Matthew, was kind of competing with each other a little bit there. What do you want to hit? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing for us is we're coming up on our second 90-day metric here. The first one, we our interactions or our impressions there, we had hit 27,000, which is kind of crazy to think by just doing a few extra Instagram reels a month, you impact 27,000 people. Our goal was 35,000, and we're looking like we're going to beat that there. I'd love to hit that 50,000 mark. So that's, 50,000 views over 90 days, would be sweet. And overall followers too, right? Just building that community, establishing that connection in the community. And we're coming up on 1,600 here. And, in the next, 90 days or so, if we could stack on another 50 or 100 there, that'd be awesome. So all those metrics you can track, and it'll show you the percent growth on those and things like that. So that's something that I think will be a good goal for us going forward into the end of the year here.
Yeah, I just will leave the audience with a couple things. One is Ashley Jordan, one of our associate coaches. They've implemented in their practice where they every Friday they just follow new patients, and a lot of times they get follow back, which is different than friend requesting someone on Facebook. That's a little bit probably maybe not going to do that when patients come in, but following patients on Instagram could get more people following you back. Or if all the things that all the entities that you reach out to in a community, like say you go and connect with that gym or that coffee shop or that tennis academy, you name it, you follow their business. A lot of times they follow you back, and so that works out. One thing that I've also done is we sponsor a group that's called Boca Raton Triathletes. And I went onto their Instagram and I started looking at some of the people that I knew from that group. And I followed some of them and I got follow backs with there. So there's some strategies to increase your followers where it's more manual. Like you got to go in and try to siphon that a little bit more. But I just wanted to leave it at that as far as growing the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, one last thing, is don't get discouraged. Like I said, we're not all gonna go viral. That shouldn't be the goal. But if you host a lunch and learn and 15 people show up, you might consider that a win. And you can post an Instagram reel on a condition you enjoy treating or feel like you have a good grasp on, and maybe 200 people will see that, and so you can look at it that way as well. So just don't get discouraged. Social media can be a bit daunting, but we're all in it together here. So,
Do you have any haters yet? Like I have haters.
I, I don't yet. I'm still in the young DC category there, so I feel like I'm avoiding it as of now. But we'll see as we grow this thing and stuff. You're not going to appeal to everyone. I mean, I'm sure some of our videos and things, around the evidence-based world wouldn't appeal to everybody, but we'll just keep plugging away here. So
There you go. Gotta have thick skin. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, exactly.
Obviously, if you're a chiropractor out there listening, you're putting out good content doing it, you're not gonna get the haters. It's when you do dumb shit. So just
Yep.
don't do dumb shit.
Yep.
Well, Gage,
Exactly.
this was awesome, man. Thanks for everything you've been doing. And it's exciting to see the growth of everything that you are doing. And thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and I'm excited to see where people can go with this and where we can go with this as our clinic as well.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you want to make the shift from busy, broke, and broken to time free and cash confident, or you just want to continue with the exponential growth, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com. Look at the MCM Mastery tab, watch the short video on there, and check out what we are doing now for evidence-informed chiropractors. We are equal parts coaching and marketing done for you. Yes, you shoot some videos, we help you with campaign strategies and ideas and really become a thought leader in your community. You shoot those videos, you send them to us, we produce, edit, and brand them to you. Then we distribute them through all of your channels. We also take them and we turn it into one good blog per month. And every other month, we have Darcy Sullivan producing a robust blog with a topic that you pick from her database to help with your SEO. So we essentially become your content marketing agency to make sure your practice is always having ethical, elegant content marketing to help grow your practice. On the coaching side, we also help you with everything from marketing ideas to business, communications, finances, anything practice growth. and really try to help prevent you from being stuck on that island. And we hold you accountable. We have a great group of doctors that are just doing amazing things, and we look forward to help you out to take that next step in your practice. So again, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com and learn more.